Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to another Halloween special reaction. This week we are doing A Quiet Place. This is a pretty popular movie. A lot of people seem to like it. Um, all I know about it, I believe this is the right movie I'm thinking of at least, is that the main characters, have to be quiet, hence the title. Like any kind of sound will basically give them away and will I don't know to what, but something will come after and probably kill them if they're heard. So they have to live in complete silence. If this is the movie I'm thinking of. And if it is, I think, and don't quote me on this, I might be entirely wrong. I mean, we'll obviously find out, but I think it stars John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. I, I'm not confident on that, but I think it does. I don't know. We'll see. Um, so the concept of this, though, if I am correct, um, the concept of something is, I guess you could say, after you, and the only way that it will catch you is if you make notable sound. Yeah, that would be a scary, frightening concept. Just the concept that you have to be dead quiet in pretty much everything you do. It builds this tension to it. It creates this tension and this anticipation. So once something does eventually happen, it allows it to get you a lot more. As such, I kind of expect this film is going to be a very quiet film. Like, I would expect that it's going to be very, very much in terms of what's happening on screen. Yeah, they're not going to be making much noise, but I also would expect it to not have a lot of even background music and stuff. You kind of almost feel like you would want some to give some kind of sound, but I think it actually would work better for the horror for it to be almost completely quiet at all times. Because that way, it again, it builds up the tension, it builds up the atmosphere, it makes it creepier when you don't have those noises. And so that when you do hear a noise, when something does come, it suddenly just shakes you out of that moment, and it's much more terrifying because of it. Um, I mean, I've watched old black and white silent films, but those usually have music and stuff, goofy music and shit to them. At least the ones I've seen have. um, but I don't think I've ever seen a film that would be just completely quiet for a lot of it. So that would definitely add a new layer to it, and it would definitely rely on physical acting. Physical acting from all its cast, whether through expressions or specific movements and everything, the way that they would try to not make sound and everything, that would be key for this kind of film. And I kind of hope that's what they're going for, because that could actually be really good if done right. So we'll have to see. And again, I'm not even 100% confident that this is even that right movie. I don't know. It could be something else. That would be interesting if it was I was just completely off. Um, but yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes, because I do know, no matter what, that people do like this movie. That it did pretty well, and I'm excited to see why. We've been kind of mixed in our Halloween special reactions so far. We had one that's just not as good, but then we also had one that I actually really liked. Ironically, ironically enough, I think I'm also on the opposite side of things with them. Well, actually, I don't know how well Truth or Dare did, but I know The Purge, at least critically, is looked down upon. I know I've seen I watched a couple reviews after checking it out, and people did not seem to like it. They thought it was like one of the reasons was dumb though, that a lot of people seem to share. It's like they expect you to think that this kind of thing could actually happen. It's like no, they don't. Nowhere in the movie does it make you like it doesn't try to make the viewers think that the purge could actually happen. It's a metaphor, and it's meant to be a metaphor. It's a metaphor for government control and just the mental state of how humans act and react in these kind of situations, as well as just how good or bad or whatnot, how moralistic humans are in general. It's metaphorical. Like no one expects you to believe that that could actually happen. No, it would be stupid to actually think that. But anyways, we're not talking about the purge today. I really did like it, and I don't fully see why everyone else hates it, or why a lot of people do at least. But yeah, I'm interested to see where this one goes. Hopefully this one is good as well. Hopefully it lives up to the hype I've heard about it. We'll have to see. So yeah, let's just get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, and we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, I'm going to say right off the bat, before anything else, I am what I tend to refer to as a horror movie critic. Not in the fact that not in like that I critique or like write reviews and shit on horror movies. Not that kind of critic. More as in I'm critical of them. I'm a fan of horror and horror movies, but I'm critical of horror movies because most don't really live up to expectations for me. Either they're not scary, they're unintentionally stupid and funny, which ruins the entire tone, or I just don't like them. I find them bad. Or even some case, all three, such as with Nightmare on Elm Street. At least all the Nightmare on Elm Streets aside from like the Jackie Earl Haley version. Um, but yeah, I'm very critical of horror movies, and the vast majority of the time, like 99% of the time, a horror movie, even if I like it, like The Purge, it won't actually scare me. It's like, yeah, the situation I can see as scary. It's like, oh yeah, like if I were in that situation, I would be freaked out, of course. But the movie itself doesn't actually scare me. Like the most it'll do is like give me a few jump scares here and there. There's only been a few movies ever, period, that have ever actually scared me. One example has been I can't remember the name. I can never remember the name of it. You know, it's one of those found footage style horror movies, and it's also kind of in the same vein as Paranormal Activity. I can't remember what it's called though, but that one was one of the ones that actually legitimately scared me when I saw it. Um, and yeah, that's the only one I can think of like named offhand, and I can't even think of the name because it's just for the most part, again, even if I do find the situations and everything, like yeah, that would be scary to live through and everything. It's like I don't find the movie itself scary. Um, oh, Alien is a good example of one um, that I actually did find scary. The Thing is another, but even so, it's just a few here and there. And I've seen a lot of horror movies and shit. This, I would say, is the first horror movie that not only scared me, but I was actually pretty intensely terrified watching. Like, you could probably see it in my reaction. Like, I was freaking the hell out. Like, the only thing I really didn't get to the point of doing was like screaming or something, but I was like excessively tense. And I think that the concept of this film is what did it. The quietness of it. The quietness of it gave it such this tense atmosphere that it just every time the monsters would appear and every time like they would be getting closer and closer to our family, it just set me so far on edge that I was just like freaking the hell out. I was so nervous, so insanely freaked out, and it's like like not even like with these characters almost never talking and not even like going much into their character, like, and we know nothing about them like beforehand, um before the events of this all happened. Well, you still go get attached to them because you see their family dynamic, you see how they interact with each other, and especially the girl. Like, holy shit, like I really felt bad for her. She had so much internalized guilt from her younger brother's death. She felt so responsible for it. And she felt for so long that her father blamed her and hated her because of it. And it's just like you grow attached to these characters, so when you see them in danger, it freaks you the hell out. And I'm like on the edge of my seat, like I'm gripping my head at points, like you saw, like I was doing that. It's like there were points where I legitimately jumped from fear. And a lot of the time I was like gripping my leg or the couch or whatnot really tightly. um, I was legitimately terrified. And these monsters are scary. The concept of them is terrifying in itself, even without the just general, even just getting past the general atmosphere of the movie because of its concept. The monsters themselves are terrifying. Their design, their speed, the sheer insane power of their hearing, like they are legitimately fucking terrifying. And I think that definitely helped add to the scare factor. The atmosphere and situations that these characters were put into was so well handled, so well written, so well paced. Everything felt like it was properly understood. Like, you don't know all the details behind this, but you get the general gist of what happened. These monsters or aliens or whatever suddenly appeared one day and they hunt by sound. They're blind, they are armored, but they're excessively fast, have amazing hearing, they hunt by sound. And it happened in a way where people could like put out newspapers and shit about it. So society was still existing when it started. It didn't just happen so quick that it just took out society and everything that quickly. Like in zombie apocalypse movies, you usually see like society is taken out really quickly. Like you might see a news broadcast as stuff is happening, but you're not going to see newspapers. Like once people are like once your like main characters are like traveling along the desolate post-apocalyptic highways and stuff, you're not going to see newspapers talking about the zombie apocalypse having happened. No, all the newspapers are going to be from before that, because the zombie apocalypse happens in such a way that it's so sudden and quick and it just grows so fast that there's no time. But with this, it probably came in like maybe waves. Like there was like only one of them at first, and then more started showing up like around everywhere else, and then it's like they just more and more kept coming. So it's like we don't even know all the details. We don't know where they came from. We don't know what they are. We don't know if they're aliens, if they're some kind of subterranean monsters, if they're experiments. We have no clue. All we know is that they appeared, that they're excessively deadly, and that they hunt by sound. And by the end, of course, we know that that shrill, high enough frequency sounds can hurt them enough to damage them so that their armor will peel back and they can be shot. And the ending kind of like implies that they're going to be hunting now for these creatures that are coming, and trying to take them out using the high frequency sound, which I definitely understand. They probably for nothing else want to get revenge for the father. Um, there are certain aspects of this that come across as stupid, though, honestly. Like the fact that they had a baby during all of this. It's like, it's the same kind of thing as having a baby during a zombie apocalypse. It's just a stupid ass decision. Like, I understand. I get that you want to have some sense of normalcy, so you're probably going to have sex and stuff. But there's a point where you have to realize it's like having a baby is such a bad idea. You have to find something else. It's just like, it is such a bad idea, such a stupid idea. Because babies are just inherently noisy. Like, yeah, sometimes they'll just be laying there making very, very light, like coos and other noises like that. But a baby can start crying and screaming its head off at, like, with no warning. And so it's like, it's so dangerous to have a baby in this kind of situation where sound is deadly. And I like how we do have an explanation for the sign language, because learning sign language in that short amount of time, like when this started, it was like only a couple months in to this happening. It said like 80 something days. There's 30 days in a month, so that's like just like between 2 and 3 months. Well, about 30 days in a month. You know what I mean? Um, so that's just between 2 and 3 months. And it's like they would have had to learn excessively quick, and they would have had to be like really good learners. But no, we find out that the daughter is hearing impaired, that she cannot hear, and has been like her father's been trying to make these hearing aids for her and stuff that have not been working. But because of that, they communicate with her through sign language already. And if at the beginning, like she's like, I don't know what, like 10 years old, they've probably been doing this for a little bit, for some time. Well, actually, no, I think she's older than 10. No, yeah, I think she's closer to 13 probably, but still. Either way, they've been doing this with her, and they probably had to learn once they found out in the first place that she was hearing impaired. So they had to learn how to be able to communicate with her, and they would teach her as she grew up, and they would teach her younger brothers. So yeah, it actually makes sense. So they were honestly just in a good position to be prepared for this kind of thing. They just were. They're basically lucky like that, but not everyone would be like that. And that's why you see like pretty much no one else in this entire film. There's only like two other characters you actually see, one of whom's already dead, and the other is this old man who dies shortly after his introduction, because I assume the younger guy was related to him and he was freaked out, or he just wanted to die or something like that. But it's like you saw like no one else, and it's almost like a zombie apocalypse, like you see in all these zombie apocalypse games or shows or movies or whatnot. And unless it's like one of those ones where it's like fresh or whatnot, like when it's further in, people are very scarce. People are very scarce. They're like, if there are people around, there are a lot of cases going to be in these groups, like these larger groups, these communities that have grown. Um, but like when just traveling around, you'll a lot of it will be barren. You'll see almost nothing. And it's like throughout most of this, we barely even saw much wildlife. And as we saw, these creatures will go after wildlife. So it's like the animals on the planet are probably dying too. So it's like this is just like really bad, really horrible situation in every way. The physical acting from everyone was phenomenal. John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, the kids, they all did a super phenomenal job. I assume that the sign language was real, that the actors probably learned sign language for these roles. Um, in which case, holy hell, kudos to them. Like huge, huge kudos to them for that. Um, they did again. I don't know sign language, so I don't know how accurate all that was, but I assume it was accurate. But they did a good job portraying it either way. Um, yeah, everything was just so well done. Every scene was shot well. Like, although like I was disappointed at first that there was still sound and music in it, even because I wanted it to be almost completely silent the entire time. I actually think it actually worked out in the end. I think that the sound and music that they did have in it worked out. Even the points where they did speak, those like few points in the movie where they actually did speak, um, I think it worked out well, and they really did make it feel like it was still natural with this kind of situation and movie and everything. None of the music was too overbearing. None of it was too much, too cinematic, for lack of a better word. Um, it was what it needed to be to enhance the tension and everything, which I can appreciate because the tension got to me. Uh, but yeah, outside of just being able to scare me and everything, like I said, with all the phenomenal acting, phenomenal direction, camera work, honestly, this movie was outright phenomenal. It was that damn good. I didn't expect it. I talked about how this movie was like really popular, how a lot of people liked it. Um, and although I haven't seen any direct reviews or anything, I've heard people talk about this like spoiler free for the most part. Um, and it was like, yeah, people are talking very favorably about this film. I don't, I think I might have seen maybe a couple, like a handful of people saying negative things about it. But that's it. Like it seemed to be super popular. I don't know like how much it has Rotten Tomatoes or whatnot, though I don't really take that into account too much. I don't know. I'm gonna definitely have to check out reviews, like because this impressed me. Honestly, I would say that without doubt, without question, this is one of, if not, my favorite horror movie. It is that damn good. It's legitimately that damn good. And again, it's the only horror movie that actually legitimately terrified me, that got me that on edge and kept me that on edge, that legitimately had me scared with what was happening, that freaked me out, that just completely blew me away in that sense. Like, even if I thought it was going to be good, and I hoped it would be good, I did not expect it to be this damn good. I'm just kind of in shock at it. I have nothing else to say. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of A Quiet Place. Were you as astounded and in love with it as I am? What did you think of the acting and directing and everything? Like, seriously, John Krasinski's a comedic actor, right? I'm not crazy, right? He's a comedic actor. You saw like none of that here. This was such a serious role and such a phenomenally portrayed role. He did so fucking well, and it's like I swear this guy is a comedic actor, but it just shows he has range. And holy shit, he needs to be in more shit. Like I want to see John Krasinski in more shit after that. My God. Um, but next week for week 4 of the 2020 Halloween special, we get to the Bloomhouse film Ma, which is something I've wanted to see ever since I first saw a trailer for it. And I really hope that one is good too. Honestly, so far, each of these films for this Halloween special has been better than the last. Truth or Dare wasn't a huge fan of that. The Purge, I really liked it. This movie, mind blowingly phenomenal. If this keeps going like this, I will be really surprised because I honestly, I'll be really surprised if Halloween 2018, which is week 5, will be better than this film. But I will be so pleasantly surprised if this keeps going like this, or even if these next 2 movies, Ma and Halloween 2018, even if they're just really fucking good, I'll still be really happy. Um, but yeah, I really love this. Like I said, tell me in the comments below what you thought, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.